to school.
Okay, hi everybody. Let's get our TikTok folks on and classes started. Hi everybody, Dr. Tochi here. I hope y'all are having a great week. Welcome to master's level PhD. That might quickly accelerate into PhD level spirituality. Happy Sunday to you. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Dr. Tochi, aka Mom of the Men's and the Women's. My website is tochi.us or drtochi.com. And I encourage you to book your divinations, your consultations, your dream interpretations with me if you want to hear the truth with no fluff. Today's class is going to be fast and furious because I have a lot to do today as a rich auntie. Okay? A lot to do. We're in our rich auntie era. Okay. And for today's class, we're going to talk about obstacle number 2 out of 8 obstacles. The kind of difficulties you will face when you ignore your spiritual call. Okay. If you ignore your spiritual call, there are certain problems you should expect and you should be ready for. But if you don't want those problems, your best bet is to answer your spiritual call. On TikTok, I've had a number of people say to me, how do I answer the call? How do I answer the call? How do I answer the call? First of all, you need to get a divination to find out if you are called. Because there are millions of reasons. Thank you for liking the live. Oshama Betala. There are a million reasons why you can have problems. So spiritual practice is not the only reason why. So usually I would recommend you get a divination to find out, is it the spiritual call that is ignoring the spiritual call that is causing the problems? Or is there something else that is causing the problems? Okay. Because not everybody has been called to spiritual practice. There are some people who are called to spiritual practice, that's their life destiny. And there are some people who have called themselves to spiritual practice. There are some people who think that being a spiritual practitioner is sexy, and therefore it is something they need to be doing. But I assure you, an authentic spiritual practitioner goes through a lot, experiences a lot, grows a lot, and it will try you and test you, refine you, and purify you. So you need, the first step is you need to get a divination to find out if you have been called to spiritual practice. because not everybody has been called to spiritual practice. Some people have spiritual gifts that they can use for themselves. But spiritual practitioners have gifts that they use not just for themselves, but also for others. So, wherever you are in the world watching me now, go get an experienced and authentic spiritual practitioner to do a divination for you and confirm whether you have been called to spiritual practice or not. Because you do not want to be wasting your time if you have not been called to spiritual practice. If you've not been called to spiritual practice and you start, it will be hard and it will not be rewarding. And you will have to deal with unnecessary challenges if you weren't called to it. But you think, okay, I think I want to do this. It looks sexy. I think I can make a lot of money out of this. I can be popular or famous. Some of the most powerful spiritual practitioners I know are not on social media. They are too busy to be on social media. And that is my target. My target is to be too busy to be on social media. I enjoy social media. I enjoy creating content, but content creation is not the purpose of my spiritual practice. So I like creating content. I do have a STEM background, so that kind of thing is interesting to me. But again, that is not what I'm here to do. It's just an incidental to what I'm here to do. Authentic spiritual practitioners are busy. Some of the really, really good ones are busy. Okay. They may go to social media just for a little bit of entertainment, but they are really busy doing work for people. So on last Sunday's touching base, we started with the 8 obstacles that you can expect if you ignore your spiritual call. If you didn't watch last Sunday's class, the replay is available on YouTube. You can go watch the replay. Those are my notes here. And in last week's class, we talked about things going wrong for you as being one of the signs of being called to spiritual practice. Today, we're going to talk about people. If you've been called to spiritual practice and you have ignored the call or you're ignoring the call, you will find people will start changing toward you. And not only will you experience it with your 5 senses, but you will also feel it in your spirit. My YouTube handle is Dr. Tochi. Thank you for asking. Dr. Tochi, just like it shows on the top here. On the top here, Dr. Tochi. If you go to, yeah, if you go to YouTube, you'll see me there. So people will change toward you. There's going to be the outer change and the inner change. You might be with some people who will be reassuring you that they have not changed toward you. Thanks for the like, Nikki. And And YouTube, if you're on YouTube, remember to give the video, the live stream, a thumbs up. That lets the platform know that class has started. There are sometimes you'll be with somebody, and even though the person is reassuring you and telling you, oh no, nothing has changed, when you are in their presence, you will feel that their energy toward you has changed. Some of you are very intuitive. Some of you are very sensitive. And when you sit with somebody, you do not need words to tell you about what's going on. There are many of you who are sensitive like that. And a lot of times you try to ignore it or gloss it over or pretend like you didn't detect something. But I assure you that should you be true to yourself and should you choose to be honest with yourself, should you choose to honor your own spirit, you will know that things have changed. You can walk into a place and know you don't need words. You don't need long explanations. You just come into a place and you know. And a quick, yes, inner knowing. And a quick bit of advice I have here for you. If you are sensitive that way, that you know things on the inside, and when I talk about this inner knowing, I'm not talking about suspicion. Suspicion makes you feel irritated and frustrated. Suspicion makes you feel aggravated. So if you're feeling any of those things, that is not an inner knowing. An inner knowing is like an embodiment of an energy. Imagine if I looked at you and I said to you, are you female? If you're female, you know you're female. If I came to you and I said, are you male? You know you're a male. There's no argument, there's no irritation. You don't feel aggravated. You just know I'm male, or I'm female, or I'm, however it is. That's the kind of knowing we're talking about here. When you have that sense of inner knowing, I beg of you, do not ignore it. Because your inner knowing is what will save you. It is that knowing that will save you. It is that knowing that will protect you. Have you ever had this sense where you went for a job interview and as soon as you saw the interviewer, even before anything was said, maybe the interviewer just walked by and somebody said, oh, there's the interviewer, and you know that you're not going to get the job and you haven't even spoken with anybody? That's a knowing. I'm not talking about a lack of self-confidence where you're afraid. An inner knowing is not afraid. An inner knowing is not irritated, is not aggravated, is not frustrated. It is just an inner knowing is like, mm. That's how it feels. So, back to what we're saying. When you have ignored your spiritual calling and you're out there doing whatever it is that you think is more important to do, you will notice that people will start changing towards you. And people who are friendly towards you, they still may smile at you, but you will feel and have that inner knowing that they no longer like you. And they can be saying all the right things to you, but you will know it will be like, "Mm, this person does not like me." And it doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter what you do. The person will never like you. Is there anyone else who cannot hear me? Because I know that last time um, Instagram was having audio problems. So if you can't hear me on Instagram, just be patient. They'll fix it. Y- and the person is smiling and laughing and saying all these things, but here, you can feel it here, or you can feel it here. You can feel it here, or you can feel it here. That they don't like you. And the more you try to make them, the more you try to make them like you, the worse it gets. You start getting the sense that they actually dislike you more. Okay? And you're trying your best to get them to like you. But it looks like everything you're doing, nothing is working. And what some of us will start doing is to buy gifts, because we hope that if we buy gifts, the person will start liking us. But what we discover is that more people start disliking us. You might go to somebody and say good morning, a total stranger, and say good morning. And the person looks at you with suspicion. And you feel it. You might be in your workplace, you might be in your business place, you might be at school, and you want to help somebody and you help the person. The person might not even say thank you. The person might turn back and say to you, "Oh, you chose to do that. I didn't ask you to do this." And you might be there saying, "Well, okay, let me go help someone else." The second person you help does the same thing. Third person you help does the same thing. I remember one time, one Christmas, I was buying gifts for everybody I was working with. I spent some money, good amount of money buying gifts. Not one single person out of the 30 people I bought gifts for bought me a gift in return. Not one. I bought gifts for 30 people, and not one of the 30 bought me a gift in return. This was before I accepted the call to spiritual practice. You would give free advice, free counsel, And the person might take it, use it, it works for them, but they will never come back to say thank you. Matter of fact, they will even start attacking you. And you would be sitting there saying, didn't I just help this person? Why are they attacking me? Why are they saying things about me? Also, you might experience a lot of gossip. People that used to hold your information in confidence will start distributing your personal information like candy. And even when you say to the person, please do not share this information I have given you, they will share it regardless. And they will not share it in a kind way. They will be very unkind when they share. Okay. You will find out that if you are having this problem because you have not answered your call, people will work to undermine you. They will go out of their way to undermine you. One time, one experience I had before I answered my call, somebody hugged me, and right after hugging me, they betrayed me. You will find people discouraging you, especially when you share with them what you plan to do. They will provide a discouragement that will baffle you. It wouldn't even be just like common sense advice. They will mount opposition to what you're saying and what you want to do. It will boggle your mind. I remember one time before I answered my call, I had a friend, Peter. Have you all noticed that most of my friends are called Peter? Uh, we'll call him Peter. I said to him, you know what? I want to return to school and get a doctorate. And he said, for what? Why would you want to get a doctorate? Aren't you educated enough? You are a woman. Why can't you rest? You are smart. You are intelligent. Why not make more money with what you already have? You do not need a doctorate. What are you trying to prove? Who are you trying to prove it to? And I remember him mounting this huge argument, and I was shocked. The way he was arguing as if I was trying to snatch money from him. And now, in retrospect, I understand what he was doing. Back then, I was not happy and I cut him off and blocked him. But now, you know how they say hindsight is 50-50. Now, when I look back, I understand what was happening. Yes, I could have the doctorate, but that was not the priority. The priority was to answer the spiritual call. but I didn't get it then. So when he said that to me, I felt that he was the enemy. I thought that he was the enemy. He was only performing his role, his function. So when you have been called to spiritual practice, people will turn against you, but oftentimes they themselves will not even realize or understand why they're turning against you. Because down the road, when I came across Peter, Peter was so happy that I got the doctorate. He was so proud that I got the doctorate. But do you know the real kicker in the whole thing? You want to know the kicker in the whole thing? Peter could not remember that he had discouraged me from getting the doctorate. And I kept reminding him, and he could not remember that conversation. And he kept apologizing profusely. But why did I believe him? Because under normal circumstances, he's one of the sweetest guys. He's one of the sweetest guys. Very respectful person. Very helpful person. He's the sort of person who will give you his last dollar. He's the sort of person who will give you the shirt off his back. And so you see the contradiction. He was somebody who had suffered so much injustice in his own life because he had been helpful to others. So when he was discouraging me, I understood, one part of me understood that it was very uncharacteristic of him, extremely uncharacteristic of him. But at the moment, I was thinking like everybody else and saying, what a jealous soul, what a vindictive and vengeful soul. And I gave him all kinds of names and labels. But one thing I did learn from this experience is this. Something I learned from this experience is this. Check before you speak. Check yourself before you start suspecting other people. We are very quick to accuse other people of witchcraft and hexes and blocks and curses. We're very quick to judge and say, oh, people are envious of me and jealous of me. But we're never quick to sit and ask, is there another reason why this person who is normally supportive of me is now unsupportive? Is there something going on behind the scenes? Why is this person behaving in an uncharacteristic manner? You might have people who invite you out on a normal day to hang out with them, do things with them, and then after a while, they stop. And it's not just the one person, many of them. Not just one person who's no longer inviting you and hanging out with you, but now you're having a whole bunch of people doing the same thing to you. You need to understand that there is something going on behind the scenes. The whole world cannot be hating you. The whole world cannot be jealous of you. The whole world cannot be envious of you. There is something going on. You need to be able to stop being emotional about the things showing up in your life and start calming down to ask yourself the question, why? We need to start being able to stop going, oh yeah, this person hates me, this person is jealous of me, this person put a curse on me, and this person is blocking me, and this person, and say, why? Because back in the day, I used to do a lot of that. Go through life being suspicious. If somebody coughed, I'm suspicious. If someone sneezed, I'd be suspicious. I'd be doing that suspicious, doing the other thing suspicious, everything suspicious. But I never stopped to say, why? Why are all my family members attacking me? Why are all my friends attacking me? Why are they turning against me? Why is it that every one of them, somebody will say to me, I will help you. And when I go to them for the help, they become very hostile. But they said, come, I will help you. They're the ones that say, come, I will help you. And then when I go, they'll get angry. Why are you here? What are you doing here? Who are you? Why are you bothering me? And then I'll be like, oh, okay. This person is a bad person. They're nasty. I'm going to go to somebody else. And I go to somebody else, and the other person I go to, the same thing happens. And I go to a third person, the same thing happens. I go to the fourth person, the same thing happens. You need to know that there is a problem. And the problem is you, not them. And when I say the problem is you, I mean that in a kind way. I mean it in a, I'm not trying to make you feel bad. I'm just saying when you're able to say, hey, I'm talking to my mom, she doesn't want to help me. My dad doesn't want to help me. My sister doesn't want to help me. My brother doesn't want to help me. My girlfriend doesn't want to help me. My boyfriends don't want to help me. Okay, my teachers don't want to help me. I go to work. My boss doesn't want to help me. All these people around me don't want to help me. I need to understand that there's a problem. I need to stop and recognize there's a problem. But many of us will not do that. To say, oh, they're all haters. They're jealous of me. My destiny is bright and they can't stand my destiny. I'm a superstar. I'm a king. I'm a queen. And they can't stand it. That's what many of us would do. That's what many of us would say. Oh, yeah, the world hates me. It's me against the world. And then we start playing some rap music to ourselves. Me against the world, me against the world, me against the world against me against the world against me. Ha ha ha. I know I'm descended from the kings and queens of Egypt, but you're still having problems. You are still having problems, and nobody is helping you. Oshomo Batala, I'm trying my best. I'm trying to be like you. Yeah, because some of us will be like, instead of recognizing, yes, Esther, instead of us recognizing that there is a problem, and especially a spiritual problem, we'll go and play DJ Khaled. All I do is win, 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 no matter what. Got money on my mind and I never give it up. And we're playing it day in and day out, but can't pay the rent, can't meet the bills. Not like nobody wants to help us, nobody wants to talk to us, nobody wants, we're out here fighting. And many of us will never stop and say, is there a problem with me? Is there a spiritual obstacle that is making people not want to help me? And many of you who've been following me for a while will remember the video I did many years ago called on spiritual cloaking. There are people who are walking around and they're spiritually cloaked. So when people look at you, they're not seeing your real face. They're seeing something else. Many of us have been victims of this. And so when you do not answer your spiritual call, you can also be subject to a form of spiritual cloaking. And people no longer see you for who you are. When you show up, they're seeing something else. When you show up, their spirit starts getting irritated and aggravated. And that's why when you show up and you're like, hi, good morning, the person is like, and you're looking at the person's face and you're like, I just said good morning. Why are they looking so angry? Because they're not seeing you. They're seeing something else. They're not seeing you. It is not you that they are seeing. So you are there saying, oh, yeah, I said good morning, and they were angry. They're jealous of me. They want to block me. No, honey, they're not seeing you. They're seeing something else. And your spiritual crew will cloak you if you refuse to obey. Because when you refuse to obey, you are making their job difficult. Your spiritual crew showed up here on this planet with you to help you fulfill your life destiny. If you are doing anything else that is unrelated to your life destiny, you are frustrating your spiritual helpers. And if you start frustrating your spiritual helpers, they will frustrate you. And the point of their frustrating you is to bring you back, to correct your course, so that you will now go and fulfill your life destiny. And this is very, very particular to those who have been called to spiritual practice. So, my dear one, if you are experiencing these kinds of obstacles I'm talking about, go get a divination. And a divination is not going to your pastor, is not going to your apostle or your prophet or prophetess, is not going to your imam or your sheikh or your mufti. Go to your people. Go to your people. And say, how do we traditionally solve these kinds of problems? Sometimes people come to me, oh, my family doesn't know anything. They're all in church. I don't have anyone I can talk to. Yes, you do. Go look for people from your tribe and culture. They don't have to be from your family. Divination is a spiritual method of finding out problems and the solutions to those problems. There are different kinds of divinations. Sometimes, okay, Oshomo says consultation. When you go to a tarot card reader and they're not fortune telling, I'm not talking about the fortune tellers. If you go to the good ones, that like a card reader, they can do a divination for you. Oracle card reader, cowrie shell reader, there are different kinds. I do different kinds of divinations. They all want money, so you want them to do it for you for free. You want free. So if you want free, you're going to get that which is equivalent for free. You know, Mimi over here on TikTok is saying they all want money. Why wouldn't they want money? A laborer is worthy of her hire. If somebody's making a living from doing divinations, why would you not pay the person? You will quickly go pay a doctor, and the doctor will give you a diagnosis, a physical diagnosis. Why would you not pay a spiritual practitioner so you can get a spiritual diagnosis? Why would you not? So we need to, you see, when we indulge in cheap thinking, we will get cheap results. And I learned this the hard way. I learned this the hard way. I have relatives who will approach me and ask for free divinations because they're like, why should I pay you? I'm older than you. I know I knew you from when you were little. I knew your whole life. Why should I pay you? But let's say you are going to see a doctor or a teacher or a contractor who's going to work on your house, and you've known them since their childhood. Would you now go to them and say, yeah, I know you're a doctor or you're a plumber, and because I've known you since your childhood, I should not pay? Yeah, we are family. Oshomo says, I did a free consultation today, but they don't take it serious, so I stop. Of course, people do not value free. I learned that the hard way. I used to do free divinations and people will not show up for their appointments with me. And I would call them And they will say, "Oh, I'm busy now. I'll call you later." Free. I'm giving the person a free divination. And the person will be so irritated. "I'm busy now. I'll call you later." Because it was free. But once I started charging money, people stopped missing appointments and they started taking it seriously. So again, I want us to understand this before I wrap up this class. There are many things that can cause problems for you in your life. And I recommend getting a divination to help open up the fields to show you what's out there that your eyes cannot see. Because when you have more information, you can make a better choice. The more information you have, the better choices you can make. And so I will listen to what somebody has to say, and I will also listen to the divination. And based on all that information that I'm getting, I can then make the best decision for myself. If you have already done a divination, and I want you to listen very carefully to what I'm about to say. If you have already done a divination with a spiritual practitioner, and in that divination, you were told that you have been called to spiritual practice, you have been called to be a spiritual practitioner. And maybe you went to 2, 3, 4, 5 people and they all said the same thing. You have heard the message. You cannot say that you did not hear the message. And some people will say, "Oh, I noticed that after I got that divinations, I started having more problems." Yeah, you started having more problems because when that message was delivered to you, you rejected it. There are some people who come to me for divination, and when it's revealed that they're called to be a spiritual practitioner, they're like, "Oh, yeah, I want to go serve in the church. I want to go serve in the church." Your destiny is not designed for other people's comfort or convenience. I want to go serve in the church. I want to go serve in the temple. I want to go serve in this mosque. Is that what you were called to do? If your spiritual practice, you were called to do divinations for others, are you going to be doing divinations in your church? Are you going to do divinations in your church? I want you to use your brain. Okay. Um, okay, I'm called to spiritual practice. Okay. When I went to this church, they told me I'm anointed for prophecy. Can I go there and be a prophetess? Can I go there and be a prophet? Is that what your creator said you should do? Is that what you are supposed to do? Or are you saying you want to be a prophetess because you want a title? Prophetess. You go to church and you wear fancy outfit and everybody's shouting and everybody's making noise and they're calling you a prophetess and you know you're feeling important. Was that what you were called to do in your life? And there are many people who will go and do that prophetess thing and end up being disgraced and humiliated because that was not what they were called to do. Some people will say, oh, my pastor or my evangelist told me that I can transmute it. So instead of doing something cultural or traditional, I can do it the church way. I can do it the church way so that it will be acceptable in the sight of the Lord. What Lord? What Lord? What Lord? What Lord? You will experience failure. And the very people you think you're going to that church to serve will turn around and attack you and humiliate you and disgrace you. Many of you will go to that church and be used. They'll be collecting tithes and offerings, and you'll be using your gifts for them for free. And the day you stand up and say, you know what, I don't want to be using my gifts for you guys here for free. I need to get something out of it because I'm still having problems. I can't pay my rent. I can't pay my bills. I can't feed myself. I'm not taking, I'm having issues and I'm having problems. That you see that same church that told you you're a prophetess or a prophet, that same church that said you're a healer, you have the gift of laying on hands and healing people, they will turn against you because you will realize that you are in the wrong place and you're not doing what you're supposed to do. Before you go to bed tonight, before you go to bed tonight, talk to your spiritual crew. Before you go to bed tonight, speak to your spiritual crew and be very humble and say, show me what to do. And they will instruct you in your dreams. Show me who to talk to. Show me who will help me. You will get that information in your dreams. And when you get that information in your dreams, don't be like, oh, let me go and ask my pastor if this is a real dream. Let me go and ask my mufti if the meaning of this dream. You prayed for an answer. The answer came to you in the dream, and then you're taking the message that was meant for you and you're giving it to somebody else. And if you do that, you allow that pastor or whoever it is, mufti, to disempower you. Everybody dreams. The fact that you don't remember your dreams doesn't mean that you don't dream. You dream. Tell them that you need an answer. You will wake up and remember that dream. And if you don't remember the dream, ask again. Keep on asking every night or every time you go to sleep until you get the answer. Some people would just say, okay, I asked sometime 5 years ago, I didn't get an answer, so. But if you want to eat food, you don't mind how long it takes for you to get that food to eat. If you want to go to a party or you want to go hang out with your boyfriend, you don't care the inconveniences it takes for you to go to that party or to your boyfriend. But when it comes time to speak with your spiritual crew, you just want to speak with them once. And if you don't get what you want once, then you're like, oh, it doesn't work. This is your life. Before you run out and accuse other people of being jealous of you and hating you, disliking you, blocking you, check yourself first. Spirit will often use other people to teach us lessons. Spirit will often use other people to teach us lessons. Spirit will often use other people to make us humble. Spirit will often use other people to make us stop our own foolishness. Spirit will often use other people to make us return to our correct senses. Spirit will often use people to put us back to factory settings. Because many of us, instead of speaking first to our spiritual crew and complaining first to our spiritual crew, no, the first thing we do is we run to other people. Many of us suffer from verbal diarrhea. If you've learned anything from today's class, let's have your AYE in the comment section. If you've learned anything from today's class, let's have your AYE in the comment section. Remember again, if you need to get a hold of me, my website is tochi.us or drtochi.com. Hello, Miss Safi. Isn't there an assignment you're supposed to accomplish that you have not yet accomplished, Sister Rafi? You can book me on my website for divination, spiritual consultations, dream interpretations, and more. And the point of my teaching. No, I didn't get any email from you. The point of my teaching is to teach you how to solve your problems yourself and how to think through to solve your problems. The point of my teaching is not to make you dependent on me, is to make you think differently and see a different perspective about your life and your circumstance. That's the point. I don't want you to feel that you're helpless and hopeless and powerless. You have what it takes to solve whatever challenge faces you. You have the ability to hear directly from your spirit guides. You have the ability to hear directly from your creator, from your guardian spirit, your guardian angel, whatever you call them. You have the ability to hear directly from your ancestors. And you have the ability to ask them for help, and they will help you. And you have the right to fulfill your life destiny. You just have to be able to calm yourself down long enough to listen and pay attention. Pay attention. What is happening to your energy in your body? Pay attention. Spirit speaks to you through sensations and not a verbal diarrhea. Pay attention. Pay attention. I don't need you to be dependent on me or anybody else. Pay attention. Let your spiritual crew be the first that you go to tell your problems before you tell any human being. Even before you tell your mother and your father, let your spiritual crew be the first that you talk to and say, please help me. Tell me who you are. Explain to me who you are. Show me what to do. I need your help. It doesn't have to be complicated. You don't have to wear special clothing. You don't have to go to any special place. You can start from where you are. Because those of you who are Bible scholars and Quranic scholars, you have instances of where your prophets used the same formula. But many of us have lost that, and we're going to all these religious organizations where they're like, if you don't give a tithe, God will not answer you. If you don't give an offering, God will not answer you. And that's not true. I did a classes on my YouTube channel where I talked about tithing, the different kinds of tithe, the background of tithing. Not everybody is supposed to tithe. Can we have some forbidden fruit today before I go? Do you give me permission to share some forbidden fruit today? You remember your first self cleanse after following me on YouTube, the egg cleanse? Not everybody is meant to tithe. Not everybody is meant to give a tithe. Not everybody is meant to tithe. It is far better for you to do a sadak and a zakat than to tithe. And if you don't know what zakat is, if you don't know what sadak is, I have free video classes on my YouTube channel where you can look that up and understand what those spiritual principles are. Not everybody was meant to tithe. And even if you have to tithe, there are rules for tithing. That's why I did those classes. So if you go on my Dr. Tochi YouTube channel, you will see those videos. Just go there and do a search for tithing. Not everybody was meant to tithe. It's not for everybody. So if you are not supposed to tithe and you tithe, you are working against yourself. If you're supposed to be doing zakat and you're tithing, you're working against yourself. If you're supposed to be doing sadak or saraka or sadaka and you're tithing, you're working against yourself. And you will have problems. And people will hate you. And people will come against you. And people will promise things to you and fail. And the little you have, you will lose it. The little you have will be wasted. And you will be scratching the earth like a chicken looking for seed. You'll be scratching the hard earth looking for food like a chicken looking for seed. Quote me anywhere because I speak from personal experience. There's some places you go and give a tithe, you give an offering, you give a contribution, you start experiencing bad luck because it's not what you should be doing. Because there are principles. There are 5 kinds of tithes, and I already did a video on this, so go look for that video. There are 5 kinds of tithes. And if none of those conditions matches your condition, you have no business with it. And not only that, who gets that tithe from you also matters. Thank you for the roses, thank you for the gifts, and thank you for the likes. So, my dear, there's so many reasons why people can start changing. It's not just spiritual call. I know that this series I'm doing here on the 8 obstacles, okay, we're dealing with a spiritual call, but I'm just broadening this topic a little bit more because it needs to be said. There are many people walking around with a cloak, spiritual cloak, and that cloak could have been put on you by your own spiritual crew, by some other spirit guides, by other people. Some people put spiritual cloaks on themselves because of their own attitudes and behavior. Some people are wearing a spiritual cloak because that is their agreement for this lifetime. And so this is the reason why you will go to your pastor, your apostle, your whoever, your imam, your mufti, and they cannot solve your problem. You have to solve it yourself. And many of you who are running to all these pastors and whatnot are stronger. You're spiritually stronger than the people you're going to for help. You're spiritually stronger than them. And because you are spiritually stronger than them, they cannot help you. And your situation becomes worse. Your situation becomes worse because you are going to somebody, you are going to subject yourself to somebody who is spiritually lower than you are. And oftentimes we don't know. I've made that mistake. And from time to time, I still make that mistake. Because there's sometimes I might be looking at someone like a mentor or like, an elder or something like that. And I say, oh my God, oh my God, I'm going through these problems and things and whatnot and the other. And one of the best things such a person can do for me, if they realize that I'm more spiritually powerful than they are, one of the best things they can do for me is not to respond to me. That's a blessing. If a person I approach, I'm spiritually stronger than that person, and the person knows that I am spiritually stronger than they are, but I'm coming to them and saying, help me, help me, help me, help me, my life is over. And the person says, no, go and solve it, or they don't help me at all. It is for my benefit. Because you cannot build muscle without exercise. You cannot be spiritually stronger without exercising your spiritual authority. You have to learn how to embody your spiritual authority. And sometimes we need a reminder. Okay. So this was meant to be a 30-minute class. Remember, I told you it was supposed to be fast and furious, and here we are, almost an hour, 15 minutes in. So sorry about that. I didn't mean to go so long. The next class, we're going to look at the third obstacle. And the third obstacle is when you ignore your spiritual call, you feel physically and mentally exhausted and ready to give up. When you face problems, those problems overwhelm you. That's what we're going to talk about in the next class. Okay, so remember again my website, tochi.us or drtochi.com. Let me know. Book me on my website. I don't do transactions outside my website. Always remember that. I do not do transactions outside my website. Thank you, Elder Light. Thank you to all of you who came to the ancestor altar workshop that we had on Wednesday. We learned a lot during the ancestor altar. Please be sure that you use the information you learned during the ancestor altar workshop. Okay. Take a moment to enter into state. Take a moment to enter into state. My problems are solved. I am loved. 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 My problems are solved. I am loved. 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 You are 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 loved. We are loved. We are loved. We are loved. We are loved. You have the right to be here. You have the right to be here. I have the right to be here. I have the right to be here. We have the right to be here. We have the right to be here. We're thankful to our Creator, our guardian spirits, our ancestors, and our spirit guides for today's forbidden fruit. We are loved. We're healed. We're protected. And we have the right to be here. Ashe, Ise, Kamagu, Ikoza, Laseti, Mkwande, Aibobo, Nyanho. It is complete. It is finished. Amen. Amen. Ma'at. Obrigado.